Welcome to the How Do We Grow From Here podcast, where we empower individuals by reframing everyday challenges through fresh perspectives and thoughtful discussions. So here we grow.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the How Do We Grow From Here podcast. I am your host, Antonio Boone.
And I'm Clifton Chambry.
Everybody, we got a great guest here today. She is a sophomore from Washington, D.C., a Cummings scholar, peer leader, peer educator, dancer, a person with great energy, Emilie Kpadea.
Yes.
Tell the people a little bit about you.
All right. Hi, guys. My name is Em, and I'm a sophomore, like Antonio said, and I'm studying psychology and French here at Hopkins. I am from D.C., but I moved here from Central African Republic when I was 4 years old, so I've been here for a very long time. But yeah, I'm very excited to be here.
Awesome, Em. So we ready to get talking and get started today. So I got a little statement for you. Mm-hmm. And first, when you hear it, I just want to know what's your first thoughts as soon as you hear this, okay? I don't care what people think.
First thing I think about is just like a mindset of being your own person, being your own authentic self, and not rely or having others' opinions affect who you are, affect how you believe in yourself, your self-esteem and everything.
Yeah, I love that. When I hear, I'm like, are you sure you don't care what other people think? I'm like,
Yeah.
There's something there, right? And some people have an opportunity to not care what other people think. Some people don't. And it makes me wonder what is lying underneath that statement. Because there has to be something else.
Yeah.
Right? So that goes to your self-esteem, those points that you just raised. What is that to you though? How have you worked through what other people think, and do you not care what other people think at times?
Well, for the most part, I don't care. But sometimes, because I'm a very anxious person, when they asked me to do this podcast, I said no. I just don't like being on camera, but I sucked it up. But yeah, I'm a very anxious person, so I care about what others think and how they view me, but I've grown to just love myself and who I am, and honestly not really care as much as I used to. But I'm still working on it because it's a tough thing to do.
No, I agree with that. And I mean, to rewind back, you did say no, but proceeded to sit down and test the mics and everything like that too. So the no was not a hard no.
It wasn't a hard no. I was a little convinced because,
Okay.
Sometimes I do good on camera. Sometimes, it depends.
Got you. But so, I mean, and I like how you talked about how you're very comfortable with yourself and who you are. And when we're talking about, us not caring what other people thinks and, showing up as authentically ourselves, I think there's also a point where it's also good to kind of know what other people do think, right, when they see us. When I show up, when I walk in a room, sometimes I do like to know, what's the first thing you thought of when you saw me, or when you first met me? What were some things that came to mind, or what some things that stood out, right? Because for me personally, if I hear the same thing from multiple people, then maybe I need to accept the reality that that's probably who I am, right? I heard it from one person, okay, that's one thing. But if I start hearing from 2-3 different people, then maybe I may mean mug a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe or maybe I am truly the funniest person in the world, right? And I believe that, right? So some of those things, I want to be conscious and understand of how people do perceive me and how they see me. Not necessarily does that mean I'm going to change. I do like to know, right? Yeah. I feel like that's the best way, especially when we're dealing with other people and we're interacting. I would sometimes like to know, what do you think when you see me or you hear from me? I feel like if we want to keep moving forward as people together, we should know that, right?
Yeah, I think that's interesting because somebody told me, I can't remember the statement, but I was reading this book, though, The 4 Agreements. And one of the agreements... Oh, I wish I remember what it was exactly called. Let me look it up. But basically, I'm going to look it up because it was so good.
Yeah, we got time.
It was so good. The 4 agreements and the fourth one. Oh, there we go. List. And then, okay, be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. And this is really cool because the one around don't take anything personally is really something important to explore, where it's like good, bad, or indifferent. Just say, okay, you notice something, but not taking it personally allows me to not have to take it internally and necessarily do something with it. An example came up. There was somebody came to do a talk, and I messaged them afterwards. I was like, "You did that. You did that," and they were like, "Thank you for your feedback." I said, "Thank you for your feedback. I need to understand, what does this mean?"
I gave you a compliment, like, that's it?
Right. And it made me wonder, what did I expect in return? And I was like, oh, because they're probably not taking anything personally and taking it as a statement that they might be able to do something with, but they already know, like what you said, the confidence of knowing who I am and loving myself. So I don't really need that. It's more confirmation of what I already know. So that was interesting for me, and I'm still working through what to do with that, or even use it to my own advantage. Thank you for your feedback.
Right.
Good, bad, or indifferent.
Right. And I think, Em, for you, like, it's your sophomore year. So your first year is like, I got to figure this thing out. But now you're starting to get a little comfortable, right?
A little too comfortable.
Ooh, you got to do better.
All right. A little too comfortable. All right, cool. But when we say, like, you can't take it personally, like, that's sometimes easier said than done, right?
Oh, yeah.
But you being in college, you know, I've been out of college for a little bit of time. Clifton been out of college for a longer bit of time. Like, how do you navigate that space? Like, this is a totally different environment. Like, how do you navigate that and not to take perceptions and things personally? How have you been able to do that?
Okay, I see it in two different ways. Like, academically, I take everything personally. Like I try to do my best in all my classes, and if I get a grade that doesn't reflect how I feel like I should have did, I take it very personal. And like, what I do with that is honestly just like try harder and try like a different like study method, or like, because I've been going to like office hours more, so that's been helpful. But like personally wise and like my like socially, that's where I truly don't care, because like I will like walk around skipping, happy and like joyful.
That is a fact.
And if you like look at me like, what are you gonna do about it? Like, honestly. And then also with, I think another thing I don't really care about is how people perceive like the people I hang out with. Like, I know the people that I choose to be around are good people and good influences, and whatever you think about them, you can keep that to yourself. But, that's how I see it.
Yeah, and you differentiate it too, right? Because academics, right, for you, like, you care about it because that means a lot to you, right? But do you feel like, and this may be a question that you might want to process it, like, do you feel like you care about your academics a lot is because that's the first thing that people think of you, you know, being a Johns Hopkins student, which you came out of high school, you had like a 5.0 or something like that, right? That's what you told me, right? Like, you said it was a 5, it was a 5 something. Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, you don't like the brag. Sorry. Like, well, I'm a brag on your behalf. You had a 5 something.
Right.
Okay. Do you feel like you take that personally because it's a part of, like, that's how people see you? They perceive you to be this person who's so strong academically that my academics can't fall below? Or is it because you have a standard for yourself? Like, which one do you think it falls under?
It's definitely not how others perceive me. It's more of a standard I set for myself. Because one, I'm a Cummings scholar, which means I'm a fly student. And, like, I'm like here for me, but I'm here also for my family, and right. I don't want this opportunity to go to waste because this is like such an amazing opportunity coming to Hopkins and studying for free. Like, if I do bad, like that's gonna hurt me and that's gonna hurt my family.
Right.
So it's like there's multiple like people who this is gonna affect in the long run, and I don't want there to be like a negative outcome on like my behalf that affects the other people who like can't really control it.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm not even there. I'm still stuck on this academic part. Y'all went on. I was like, I'm not there. I can't get there. I'm really interested in, like you said, I want to know two things. How did you get to a space socially to not care about other people's opinions? Like, was this partly from your upbringing or anything else like that? And then two, what about our academic spaces causes us to rely so much on others' perspectives? And we come back to the second one, but that's the first part.
Gotta come back to that one.
First part, like, how did you get to that comfortable experience where you're like, I don't care what, these are my people. If you don't like them, go somewhere else.
I'm not gonna lie, I've been like this for a long time, and I say, like, this is partly due to, like, my friend group in high school, and we're all like very confident in ourselves and who we are, and like whatever you think about me is what you think about me. That's not gonna affect like what I do in any way, unless like. Never mind.
Fill in the blank, folks. Fill in the blank, folks.
So, but like my friends in high school, like they were very supportive, and they were very like we all like, how do I explain this? Like complimented each other in every single way. Like when we did something good for ourselves or for each other, we like said like our thank yous and like keep it up, and just like kept motivating each other, which has helped a lot. With like me not caring what other people think about me, because I know that like there are people that like believe in me and that know that I can do well, regardless of where I am. So that's, yeah, it's kind of hard to like say how, but for me, that's how it happened. And it was just like a gradual thing that I continued to work on as I came into college.
Okay. That's helpful because it's what you're saying is like it takes work, firstly, and you had community, it seemed, that helped you to do that work.
Yeah, and I wasn't always like this. It was like before, like all like the confidence built up. Like I was very like a constrained person, and I didn't really express myself much. But then I learned that you have to communicate, guys.
Yeah.
Like so if like I noticed that anything was wrong with me, I would talk to my friends, and they would basically help me like overcome the like anxiety and the not being confident, and like help me build that up, which has got me to this point.
Yeah, thank you. And the second one, and this could be either of us. I think I'm really curious about the part that around academics and how we rely so much on the perspectives. And I'll start. I think it's these folks have gone to school, gotten their degrees. We know that going to school is difficult. And 2 years in, few years out, right? We know that it was a difficult journey. I remember it like it was yesterday. What? Undergrad and grad, right? And so so there is some sense that these folks are knowledgeable experts in this area. And what I am conflicted in sometimes is that we don't use pedagogical approaches that bring in the human aspect of the people we're trying to help learn material. We're so focused on a product, but not how do we get to that product of information.
Right.
And so, I use Bloom's taxonomy of learning in better understanding things and recalling to understand to then apply, right? In order to get, but also you got to bring in the humans that you're working with. How do I get to know M and make sure that at least you bring in your perspective, or Antonio, you bring, like, that is what I think is key in the learning process that helps with perspectives. Yeah. And I think our instructors and our leaders, our faculty need that perspective as well. Right. So that we don't feel like it's just whatever they do, I got to do because I'm the new person.
I got something, and it's a story, and it's about my sister, so she sees this. It's not a bad story. Right. But, so my sister, right, like, we're two totally different people. She was the brains in school. I'm smart too, don't get me wrong. But she was the brains, for sure. And I was more of the athlete, the social person, right? So she was very much so, like, it's straight, like, A's is the only grade. Like, there's a B. I mean, if I get a B, it better be a class that, like, nobody can pass, right? That's her mentality. And me, I'm like, I got a B. Hey, it's a party. Like, we doing our thing, right? So I'm good. So
my money for my B.
She went to law school, and she got a C.
Ooh.
Oh, no. It might have been a D. C or a D.
Ooh.
Right?
It was a D. Oh my gosh.
And for somebody, and this is kind of for you, Em, when she saw that, in her head, it was already,
Over.
I shouldn't be here
Yeah.
because this is what I'm getting, right? So her first thing was, I'm out, I'm gone. And it took the professors talking to her and saying, no. Like, a C or even a D on this assignment is not bad. We're giving you this because there's more, right? And when you talk about the perspective, I think sometimes that's not always, it's not always communicated that your grade may not necessarily be a reflection of how good or the quality of work. It could sometimes be like, you didn't expound upon this as much, right? There's more there, right? And there's more to pull you out, because I think their whole thought process, and this is just me assuming, was that if I give you an A, you're just gonna be,
Right.
you're gonna be good, right?
Yeah.
But when we say we don't care what other people think, and we've been those people who had those grades for so long, and you give me something that's not that, I automatically say like, well, what is that? What you mean? What you trying to say about me?
Yeah.
And the thing is, what they're trying to say is that there's more, like, you have more to give,
Yeah.
right? And that's just not your only grade. So how to navigate that space is, I think, it's probably different from person to person. But it could also, it depends on, like you said, that perspective and understanding what's the other person trying to convey to me, which sometimes we don't always know. Yeah. So I think I want to ask, are we saying that, from what I hear the dialogue, is that we shouldn't care what other people think? Is that what we're saying? Is that what's being said right now? Help me.
Not entirely.
Uh-huh.
I feel like it's kind of hard. Hold on.
While you ponder a little bit more, I feel as if its perspectives help deepen one's understanding.
Right.
And so I wouldn't say not care, because what does care even mean, right? So let's see. Y'all know I'm gonna look it up and see. The provision of what is necessary for health, welfare, maintenance, and protection of someone or something. To feel concern or interest, attach importance to something, look after and provide for the needs of. So it's like a level of, it's not just acknowledging it, it's a deeper portion of like acknowledgement. Like you're gonna do something. A provision is an action, right?
Right.
And so I think if we're talking about not caring, I think not caring to the point where it causes detriment to our progress, our growth. I think perspectives bring forth a different understanding. So, for example, we have orchids at home that I bought for Bay, and I don't do plants. That's Bay's job. He loves plants. He did them before we got together. And I like flowers. I like plants in the house, but I just don't do well with them. So I got perspective from someone who does plants in one spot, and I looked online. I said, you know what, here's this article. I don't know how to do this, and you can look into it. But now I know we're not buying orchids, right? Now that's perspective, because I love orchids. My best friend loves orchids, but I'm not doing orchids because I love to see them, but it's hard to take care of it, right? And so it's like, how do you use that perspective to do something with it if necessary? Or is it just adding to your understanding of something to then apply whatever else you might need to move forward?
Constructive.
Yeah.
Right. Constructive. Giving us something to work with, right? If I understand that perspective of how you perceive me, that's giving me, or how anything, right, can be perceived that's associated with myself, it can give me something I can use to work towards, to progress towards something, to utilize, to have in my toolkit, right? There's some things that people say, like, Antonio, you do such and such and such and such so well. And it could be something I don't even notice, right? I'm just doing it. There's a lot of stuff that we do and we just naturally are doing it. We don't even notice. But when somebody picks it up, it's like, you know what? You're right. I am good at that. I am. Let me lean into that a little bit more, and that can help me get to wherever else I'm trying to go, whether it's excelling in the classroom, right? Like they could say, like, Em, you ask great questions.
Oh,
you're right. You know what? You're right.
That is good.
And sometimes I felt like my questions didn't make any sense, but I got somebody telling me that I ask great questions.
Right.
I'm gonna start asking more questions,
right.
And then I'll start to see from asking those questions. It's gonna allow me to start seeing things differently, start studying differently, and then maybe those grades go even higher than what they already are, right? So I like that. I like that for sure. So I wanna go and lean into the point of how do we grow from here?
Yeah, I think part of our goal is also to help people act on the conversation. And my how do we grow from here moment is on that action. And I'd say I wrote down multiple. So I'm trying to find that one thing. I would say, is there something that you are challenged by? Note that. We talk about reflection and the impacts of that, but also figure out, might there be somebody who can give me perspective on this? And the answer oftentimes is yes. And then you can actually find someone that can help you find that person, right? And or help you through that, right? And so it could be a spiritual leader, it could be an advisor, it can be your parent, it can be a friend, a peer. Anybody can help you see how you move through something. So, for example, if you had a challenge with buying a double-breasted suit not on a certain platform, we're not going to put them out here. But, I know I want to buy a double-breasted suit, but at this time I'm looking into other organizations to purchase from. And so I now know I need to go to somebody I know that has nice double-breasted suits, ask them, do they have resources and or know someone that I can talk to find other spaces for this, right? Now I could take that perspective. They might try to have me go somewhere expensive. That ain't in my pocket.
Right.
But I might be able to have that narrow down to other ways I can do. I can find other things. So that's how I think we can grow from here. Is really finding people who we can connect with, like Em was sharing earlier, to then help us explore the challenges. But that requires us to identify the challenge.
Right.
So here we grow.
Here we grow. Okay. What about you, Em? How can we grow from here? How can we grow from here, from this conversation?
I think one main thing for me is doing more reaching out when I'm in like deep trouble. Because like I've been like going through a lot these past few weeks, and I've just been like to myself, and I have a lot of people on my like side, but they don't know. So one thing I would like to do is like get in contact with my like advisors and let them know what's going on, and have them like provide me some resources if there's any, and just like seeing how they may help me, and maybe it just might be like a simple conversation that we need to have. And that's how I think I'd like to grow from here.
Absolutely. That's good. Reaching out, getting that feedback, right? Getting that help and support. And I would say how we grow from here for me really stems from the point of it was a bunch of different things said. Like some things we can't necessarily see is take them personally, right? But I think the last point that you ended on, which was that whole idea of like constructive feedback, right? Getting that information from our peers, getting that. I know we do a lot with like in our work where we always want to get feedback. We want to get that. We want to know how people thought of different events we put on, different panelists we had come to speak. Not because we want to hear how good or bad we did, right? But we want to know how can we improve. Like some stuff may just not have been a good event, right? And we know like, okay, to have better services for our students, right? Or for our people, don't put that event on anymore. Use that time somewhere else, right? And that's quality feedback for us that we can use to hopefully have more success. So I would say any feedback that I get from others, right, about how they may perceive me or anything that may be associated with me, let me see how I can use that constructively. So I would say that's how we grow. Try to figure out how I can use the information constructively.
Awesome. Well, that's how we're growing, y'all.
All right, everybody. So thank you, Em, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, as much as
I'm actually so glad I did this.
We are too.
We're glad that you did too, even though you didn't want to do it so bad, right? But I'm glad that you shared with us and was able to give us some feedback. So everybody, let's just keep growing.
Yes.
Thank you.
See y'all soon. Thanks for listening. We hope you got something from today's episode. Take time to grow with us and share your growth journey in the comments, in your reviews, or on social media using the hashtag WeGrowing.